which may assist MEGA in enhancing their portfolio and generate the much needed revenue. Clearly, investment in this portfolio is going to turn around the fortunes of MEGA. Deputy Speaker, as for the MER, the entity contributes to provincial economy through business regulation, inter alia creating an enabling environment through which businesses thrive. Our gambling industry in particular has matured and contribute immensely to the growth of our economy. It has created sustainable jobs. The industry contributes to contribute to infrastructure development such as hotels, shopping malls, restaurants, conferences centers, and leisure for facilities, for example. Thank you, Deputy Speaker, for the opportunity. My responses end here.
Thank you, Honorable MEC. I will now call upon Honorable Member M. Lanchimnerian to ask follow-up questions.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. I think my question comes along the lines of Honorable Chief Whip as well. Seeing that the economic cluster did go out on oversight visits, my question relates to the following. Honorable MEC, in most of MEGA's projects, we see a lot of beneficiaries not being given the attention they deserve. What is the entity, which is MEGA, doing to ensure that the cooperatives and beneficiaries get the necessary support in respect of business administration, so that they are put in a position where they can run the project on their own and for their own benefit, instead of us outsourcing as another strategic partner? That's my question.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The Honorable MEC.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, for the opportunity. As I've indicated that our state-owned entities, we will try our level best that they must do exactly what their founding regulation have been made for. Specifically for MEGA, the most important thing is for MEGA to concentrate more on investment and make sure that all the issues which are there for investment, which are going to make it to be self-sustainable, are prioritized. And that will make MEGA not to go all out and come back to even to provincial treasury and ask for assistance. It must be self-sustainable in order that to assist even the province in doing some projects which are going to benefit the province. Thank you for the opportunity, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable MEC. Any other follow-up question, Honorable Lanchimnerian?
Mr. Skosana on the line.
No, thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. No follow-up questions.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Can I check any other member who will want to have a follow-up question?
Honorable Skosana on the line.
Honorable Skosana.
And Honorable Khopet, please.
Thank you very
Honorable
much.
Skosana, the platform is given to you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker, honorable members, our executive. Honorable Speaker, as the MEC has given responses in regard to MEGA,
Can honorable members switch their mics? Can you mute your mics? Alex Matsimane, mute your mic. Sorry, Honorable Skosana, you can continue now.
Deputy Speaker, I've got a follow-up question, and I'm provoked by the responses that I got from the MEC. My follow-up question is that MECA
Sorry,
is implementing...
Honorable Skosana.
Yes, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Sorry to disturb you, but I think now it's fine. I wanted to request Alex and Tsimane to switch off their video there because we see big bellies there. But you can continue.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, as MECA is busy implementing the economic development program in the province, I just want to request the MEC to share with us, in terms of the structures in the regions, does MECA have structures that are implementing programs that are coming from the provincial structure? If they are there, in which way? I should think that's my question, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable MEC.
Deputy Speaker, I want to indicate that is our wish to strengthen all the structural region and make sure that they assist each and every corner of the province. And we are not that strong at this particular time, but we envisage to do that in order for MEGA to be filled in each and every corner of the province. Definitely, that is our wish. And as I've indicated, that MEGA has been found through a legislation which is going to assist each and every corner without exception of the province. That is going to assist us, that there will be no exception. MEGA must be filled in each and every corner of the province. That is, as we rejuvenate MEGA, all the corners of the province must feel that MEGA is assisting in each and every corner of the province, and will be no exception.
Thank you, MEC. Honorable Krobler.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Thank you, MEC, for the answer. MEC, with all due respect, we've heard a lot about MEGA. We've heard about restructuring. We've heard about them only sticking to their core mandate that they were developed with. We've heard all of these things. But I would like to ask the MEC through you, Deputy Speaker, is there any reason, apart from plans that they are going to do well, is there any project or anything that they have done which we can refer to that justify why MEGA shouldn't have been disbanded already? Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, MEC.
Thank you, Honorable Krobler. And I must thank this opportunity because each and every time you put us on our toes. And I want to indicate there will be no reason to disband MEGA, because as I'm responding in front of you, I've got positive attitude towards what MEGA is doing and the leadership which is there is doing. And I think with the intervention which is on the table, MEGA is going to prosper. And the projects which are on the table, I want to believe that all these projects which are on the table now are going to be completed, and MEGA is going to be able to put them on the table in record time. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Yeah, Deputy Speaker.
We have now exhausted our time on this question.
Oh.
Honorable members. I'm sorry, I don't know who wanted to come in, but we have exhausted our time. Oh, Mashilo. I'm sorry, Honorable Member, we've exhausted our time on this question. Let's go to the next question, which is asked to the Honorable MEC for Health.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. The question is from Honorable J.L. Tabete. We know that the Department of Health has finally heeded to the call of filling vacant posts in our health facilities. The department recently appointed health support staff to be stationed in various health facilities. The first question is, how many professional nurses have been appointed and how have they been distributed? The response is that 446 professional nurses were appointed between the 1st of April 2020 and 27 October. And they are distributed in the different districts, with the Tanzania having 206, Garsibande 73, Kangala and 167. The second question is, what were other appointments that were done? The response is that the department appointed 1,400 new staff between 1st of April 2020 and 27 October 2020, of which 446 were professional nurses, and the remaining 954 is set out in the table with your administrative artisan, ambulance personnel, auxiliary workers, cleaners, dental therapists, dietitian. It is a whole list. The list is long of all the different categories that were appointed in the department, with a total of 954. The third question is, the department has invested a lot of training nurses at Temba College of Nurses. Was priority given to the students who have finished their training? The response is that all the students that have been trained at the Mpumalanga College of Nursing are the bursary holders of the Department of Health. They have all been appointed and placed in various health facilities across the province. They have to serve the department for at least a period equal to the number of years they spend in the nursing college in terms of their contract. And we have seen that a day before yesterday, 453 graduated through visual, and all of them are in the system and are in the different clinics and hospitals in the province. The fourth question, in an effort to fight COVID-19, how many foreign expert doctors were received provincially? We're responding that 8 medical officers were received from Cuba. We had the family physician. We have also had we have family physicians which are in Tonga, Shongwe, Tinzwalo, Leidenberg, Witbank and Impungwe, Kwamhlanga, Piet Retief, and Evander. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, MEC. Now we'll ask Honorable Member Tabete if you have any follow-up questions.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker, and thank you that from MEC the responses. But I still have the follow-up question, Deputy Speaker, to ask the MEC on these appointments. Did they appoint the doctors especially for orthopedics, because patients are waiting too long in most of hospitals in Mpumalanga. So I just want to know in this batch of the doctors that they've employed, that they've covered also of the other question. I just want to check, because I know the professional nurses was a long crisis from the department. The backlog, it's at how many percent, how many that going to make the department function proper and normal crisis of professional nurses. Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The Honourable MEC.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, and thank you, Honourable Tabete. Indeed, in terms of the list, we have got medical practitioners, 121, medical specialists, 1, of which is a challenge. that we can't attract specialists in the province because it's a rural province. Most of them, they prefer to be in your Gauteng, KZN, and Western Cape. But also the partnership that we are having with vets assist us in terms of recruiting specialists into the province. In terms of the professional nurses, I might not have the exact number in terms of the backlog in the province, but what I can assure honorable members is that every time we take our students to the college, all of them, we absorb them in the department. So that I can assure the honorable member. But in terms of the exact numbers, but in terms of our norms and standards, most of our facilities, they do qualify. Because sometimes you might say there's a shortage, but when you look at the number of the patients that we are visiting, it's not according to the norms. Most of the time you find that in terms of professional nurses, we have got more, but rather maybe the lower categories, that's where we are having a shortage. Hence, we try to make sure that all the different facilities, they find a balance so that we don't have more professional nurses and we don't have the lower categories. But in terms of the professional nurses, I think as a province, in terms of the college and the recruitment, we are moving towards the right direction. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable MEC. Am I correct to assume that Honorable Tabete, you have asked two of your follow-up questions?
Yes, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you very much. Can I now check if there's any other member who would want to ask a follow-up question?
Honorable Sithole, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Honorable Sithole.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker, and thank you very much to the Honorable MEC for the responses. Honorable MEC, I just want to check in terms of the training that your department has prioritized for the healthcare professionals. Is there any particular training that you feel or the department feel should be prioritized for them? And also just to say, we've sent some correspondence to your office, and if you can also respond to that separately though, in the correspondence right now, if you can just address the issue of the training. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable MEC.
I didn't hear the first part, but I'm hearing whether we prioritize the training. I didn't hear the first part. I just heard her saying, are we prioritizing the training? But if that's the question, in the college, we are having all the different categories, your midwife, all these categories that are there. So we always make sure that we find a balance. And hence, that is the only college that we are having. And what is good now is that in terms of the intake previously, we had so many people not completing their degree within a specified time. But now we are seeing a lot of improvement because of the requirements that we have put, which is of high level. So I think, if I've heard her correct, I think that's how I can respond to Honorable. And if in terms of the question that he has put in place, I think we have responded to that. If she has not yet received them, she will receive them.
All right, thank you, Honorable MEC. Any other member with a follow-up question?
Honorable Mashilo.
Honorable Mashilo.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. And I noted that the Premier is here as well, and the MEC. Well, the MEC, the issue of the pharmacist assistant, wouldn't that as well assist the majority of our clinics and our hospitals, since we are unable to recruit more pharmacists? That program, you roll out the program of the pharmacy assistant to assist in dispensing in the hospitals. Would not that take the province forward? Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Tabete. Can you mute your mic? Thank you, Honorable MEC.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. In terms of the recruitment on the list, we do have a pharmaceutical assistant and pharmacist, but maybe in terms of the limited resources that we are having, we may find that we are unable to fill all the vacancies at once. But in terms of our recruitment now, Honorable Mashilo, through Deputy Speaker, we are prioritizing those posts. Hence, even on this recruitment, they are part of those that we've recruited. Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Thank you very much. Can we now move to the next question? The next question goes to the MEC of Education. Is the MEC of Education here? Honorable Machuba?
Deputy Speaker, do you hear me?
Yes, I hear you, Honorable MEC.
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. The question is from Honorable N.P. Mkabela from the EFF to ask the MEC for Education. COVID-19 has ravaged our communities and affected our schooling system. The EFF has called for delay in reopening of schools until the President succumbed to the pressure by ordering a new school calendar, as opening schools when COVID-19 was on the rise was equal to attempted murder to our schooling communities, teachers, learners, and other supporting staff. In light of the above, first question, Honorable MEC, are our schools ready with all the prevention measures for mitigation against spread of COVID-19? If not, what are the reasons? The response, the department has put the following measures in place for mitigation against the spread of COVID-19. Standard operating procedures to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in schools were developed in school management. School management teams were trained on how to implement them. Guidelines on social distancing were issued to schools. COVID-19 committees have been established in all schools. Compliance officers have been appointed at schools. Learners, teachers, and support staff were provided with PPEs, related chemicals, and thermometers. Budget was made available to address infrastructure challenges like provision of mobile classrooms, addressing water and sanitation challenges. Screeners, fumigators, and cleaners were appointed to schools. Nutrition is provided for learners who are unable to attend due to the need to comply to the COVID-19 public transport regulations. Additional vehicles were added as per need where necessary. How many educators, that's question number Roman figure 2, how many educators and staff were reported to have tested positive to COVID-19 and how many recovered? A total number of COVID-19 cases since lockdown, educators is 775, that who were infected, 749 recovered. Non-teaching staff, 63, and 60 have recovered. Learners, it was 271, those who were infected, and 269 recovered. How many have died? As Roman figure number 3, third question. How many have died or lost due to COVID-19? Total number of COVID-19 fatalities since lockdown. Educators, 26. Non-teaching staff, 3. Learners, 2. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable MEC. Let me now request Honorable Mkabela to ask if she has a follow-up question.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker, and thanks to the Honorable MEC for the responses. I have no follow-up questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mkabela. Can I check if there are any other members who have follow-up questions?
Mlombo.
Honorable.
Honorable Chief Whip Mlombo.
And Honorable
Thank you very much, Deputy Chief Whip. And thank you very much to the Honorable MEC. My question is, as a result of the negative impact of COVID-19, how ready are our children, especially the matriculants? Because now it's exam season. How ready are the matriculants to write their final examination? Because we know, Honorable Speaker, that COVID-19 has impacted negatively in terms of the schooling calendar. But before the Honorable MEC responds to the question, I think we must correct the insinuation which is demonstrated by the question from the EFF, because it wants to send a picture that when the president introduced a new school calendar, the president was succumbing to the pressure from the EFF. I think it must be corrected. Our understanding was that the new school calendar was informed by the decisions of the National Command Council, not pressure from the EFF. So that is my question and the correction in terms of the insinuation that is portrayed by the question from the EFF. Thank you.
Honorable MEC.
Thank you, Honorable Chief Whip. I think the negative impact of COVID-19 did have an impact, as you will all recall that in the academic year, we lost the full 5 weeks. But despite that, we think that we have done a lot of catch-up programs, such as radio lessons, TV lessons, and some camps for the matric learners. As such, we are very much optimistic that we have tried our level best to make them catch up to an extent that they will be able to perform and they will be able to achieve the target that we set for ourselves. Definitely, we know that psychologically they might have been affected. We brought some psychosocial services so as they can have to be assisted. Hopefully, we are convinced that they will try their level best to make sure that they achieve. Thank you, Chief Whip.
Thank you, Honorable Skosana.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Honorable Deputy Speaker, let me appreciate a wise decision taken by the President to delay the reopening of the schools, including our commanding structure in the province. Because the COVID-19, it was killing people in large numbers. That was a wise decision to delay that. And at the same time, our education went back to the
Point of order, Deputy Speaker. Point of order, Deputy Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Member Mkabela.
Honorable Speaker, I thought you said you were inviting members who are having follow-up questions based on the one that I have raised, or something that is relevant to the questions, the education questions that I've asked the MEC. But we cannot be misled here, and then now the honorable members are coming here to correct my statements, the questions and stuff like that. We are not here we are not here in this meeting to listen to what the president did was wrong or correct. The honorable MEC has already answered my questions. And then now the honorable members, they are coming in. I don't know whether they're still adding more responses, or they want to hear or to raise their own comment, follow-up questions. I don't understand what is going on now. If you can assist us on that matter. I think now is time for follow-up questions and clarity, but not to question what other honorable member has asked already and has been responded to by the relevant MEC. Thank you very much.
Thank you, honorable member. Let me allow Honorable Skosana to conclude so that I can make a determination if indeed he's asking or commenting.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. My follow-up question is that, did the arrangement of our schools class assisted us in implementing the program of education in the province, MEC? As we are aware that the classes were rearranged to suit the education system that we are in now during COVID-19. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Skosana. I think that's a question, Honorable MEC.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Yes, Honorable Skosana, I can say that the interventions that we came up with managed to assist us to make sure that there is stability and learning in schools. As you will recall that our classes were not enough to accommodate all learners in terms of social distancing that was required. Therefore, we had to come up with other alternatives of making sure that there is proper social distancing in our schools. And I think that tactic came up very handy. And as a result, we managed to have a very school calendar that went quite well.
Thank you, Honorable MEC. Can we now move to the next question? We have received an apology from the MEC, but he's indicated that he will have to leave us by 3:30. I hope he's still part of us, the MEC of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs.
Yes, we hear, Chair.
Yes, thank you. You can continue, MEC.
Thank you very much, Chair, for the opportunity. Let me greet you and the Honorable Premier and my colleagues and everyone in the legislature. The question asked by Honorable TMJ Rovi Morgan is one concerning external service providers in our province. Will the MEC answer the following questions? Honorable MEC, question one, in your opinion, and knowing that the ISCOM account increased from in financial distress, and further to this, have the initiatives implemented since 2016 worked? Question number two, I would request Honorable Speaker that I read the questions and then responses from the question raised, because there are 5. Question number two, is holding our municipalities at ransom because they are refusing to increase the notified maximum demand, which some municipalities are exceeding, and yet they are penalizing them without exorbitant interest, and by throttling the electricity supply. What can this provincial government do, and what has been done to increase the NMD? 3, Honorable MEC, the debt to water ports is now also increasing exponentially and is presently almost 2 billion, if not more. It is clear that municipalities are struggling to pay their creditors on time. What strategies does the department have and has implemented other than back to basics operation, clean audit, and the IMSP as this proved to be fruitless? 4, what revenue generation strategies are being implemented in the municipalities under the provincial intervention and using recent statistics relating to the number of creditors and the total debtors in Mpumalanga, do you think the provincial intervention has worked? And lastly, is this government reluctant to place Mpumalanga under administration? Please provide stats which shows that the financial crisis in the municipality is improving. These are the responses to the questions, Honorable Deputy Speaker. It is a fact that some of our municipalities in the province are in financial distress. It is for these reasons that the Executive Council approved interventions in 5 municipalities in terms of Section 1395 of the Constitution by directing and approving intervention in terms of Section 139 of the MFMA. The municipality as follows: the Malahleni, Tabateu, Msoga, Likwa, and Covenant municipalities. Detailed financial recovery plans were developed, approved, and handed over to councils for implementation. The financial recovery plans are comprehensive and covers all areas of governance, institutional financial management, and service delivery. These plans were developed for the implementation in a phased approach. Due to the dynamics and nature of the problems, it will not be possible to see change within a short space of time. These plans are to be implemented over a period of 3 years. The immediate attention is going into the improvement of financial management, which include increase of revenue baseline and improvement over supply chain management and development of funded budgets. These municipalities were all supported with reconciliations and matching of valuation roles, tariff structures, and category of users to the master billing systems in ensuring that all properties are reflecting on the billing systems and are billed correctly. Municipalities were supported to the representation of their budgets in ensuring that councils adopted funded budgets. In this regard, all municipalities' budgets were reworked towards a funded position. Ongoing discussions are taking place with bulk service providers in order to find and agree on affordable payment plans on area debt. All municipality supply chain management were centralized in order to manage and control outgoing commitments. Financial turnaround of these municipalities and the financial recovery plans cannot bring overnight solutions, and it's a process that have started, and this process is monitored on a monthly basis. On the issue of ISCOM and the NMT, the main challenge, Honorable Chair, which contribute to ISCOM refusing to increase the NMT is the failure of our municipality to pay their ISCOM account. As of 31 July 2020, our municipalities are owing ISCOM an amount of 8.8 billion. The issue of NMT is indeed concerning, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, it is estimated that combined available NMT across our municipalities is 864 MVA, while the estimated current demand is 970 MVA. It should be indicated that the department has since directed all municipalities in the province or ISCOM to adopt turnaround plans to address electricity exchange, including ISCOM debt. The department is also engaging ISCOM from time to time on the issue of NMT, and the recent agreement with ISCOM is that municipalities should settle their current or monthly account and conclude payment plans on outstanding debt. We are confident that if improvement is realized in the area of debt, ESCOM will easily be persuaded to approve any application of increasing NMT in our municipalities. The third, in relation to the owing water pots, 2 billion, municipalities are experiencing high levels of distribution losses. These losses can be contributed to technically and non-technical losses. The reconciliation of valuation roles to billing system assisted to ensure that all properties / consumer are billed for water and electricity. If registered as indigent credits, will be passed on to such qualifying consumers. The technical losses are addressed through upgrading of networks. On the revenue generation strategies, our response is that a comprehensive municipal revenue management strategy and action plan was developed and approved by the Executive Council for Municipalities. This strategy and action plan that was developed covers all aspects of the complete revenue value chain in municipalities. As part of the revenue management action plan, Provincial government roll out reconciliation or valuation or reconciliation for two billing systems. Standard operating procedures were developed and rolled out to all municipalities in the areas of revenue management, expenditure management, supply chain management, and contract management. Last question of Emalahleni. The implementation of the financial recovery plan is a process and needs time. The plan aims to bring permanent solution, which includes short-term, medium-term, long-term goals. We're of the view that when the plan is fully implemented, we'll be able to see a financial viable, well-administered institution. Thank you very much for the opportunity, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable MEC. We will now ask Honorable Member Morgan to ask follow-up questions.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. There is no follow-up questions. I'm happy with the response. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Can I check if there are any other honorable members who have follow-up questions?
Mashilo.
Oh, Honorable Mashilo.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker and the MEC. MEC, would that help if our municipalities or the province start to encourage our municipalities to start to create their own supply of electricity as per what has resolved or said by the President? What it means to establish their own supply, pulling out of ESCOM and started to be the distributor of electricity. Will that not help us moving out of this quagmire of ESCOM? Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable MEC.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Honorable Mashilo, thanks for the question. Alternative energy will help the province to overcome the challenges because you will acknowledge that ESCOM itself has got its own internal challenges. It is always bailed out by national government. Two, ESCOM cannot be able to provide electricity as required by our communities. There's a process of load shedding. So bringing alternative energy will be able to help. So we working together, we must encourage our municipalities to consider alternative energy. Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable MEC. Is there any other member who wants to ask a follow-up question? I will take it that there are no other follow-up questions. Thank you, Honorable MEC. We'll move to the next question. I got an apology for the MEC of Social Development, who indicated that Honorable Manzini will stand in for her on the next question. Honorable MEC Manzini.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. The question is from Honorable Nhlope to ask a question to MEC of Social Development. During the month of July, the Hawks arrested 3 suspects accused of conspiring to steal monies by hacking into the SASSA system and have access to SASSA's beneficiaries' account. The question 1 is, how far has the investigation by law enforcement agencies gone with regard to the above? The response is that it can be confirmed that there are 3 external people or suspects who were arrested on the 24th of July 2020 and are still in custody. They appeared in court on the 17th of August 2020, and the case has been deferred for the 21st of August 2020 for bail application. It was SASSA officials who was approached by the suspect to assist them in accessing hacking the suspect system in order to
What's that? Denimnis, I see your mic is not muted. Can you mute?
in order to get all employees' passwords to be used in committing fraudulent transactions. This good official alerted the law enforcement agency, hence the successful arrest made on the 24th of July 2020. The arrested suspects were found with various equipment, including laptops, printers, SASSA, SAPO card, other bank cards, biometric devices, list of ID numbers, etc. The investigation by the law enforcement agency is still continuing as the suspects are not yet formally charged. The second question, in cases like above, an inside job is always suspected Has the department done an internal investigation? And if so, what are the outcomes? The response: there are similar cases that have been reported before relating to the alleged hacking of the system and implicating the SASSA employees for having colluded with external people with the intention to defraud the government. The agency has established a task team in 2019 to investigate, amongst others, the security features of the SOCPEN system for possible enhancement. The agency is addressing this matter together with organized labor representing the rights and interests of their members and who claimed unfair labor practice when their members were being charged for negligence in handling or securing their personal credentials. The third question: what security measures has the department put in place to avoid such unfortunate criminal attempt and activity in future? The response is that the agency has established a task team inclusive of system controller, administrators, and ICT personnel to look at the security features of the SOCPEN system and also to make recommendations in relation to possible system enhancement and controls. The report of the task team is still being considered by the relevant structures, including the SASSA National Bargaining Forum, known as SNBF, and the executive management of SASSA. The agency has conducted numerous workshops to its employees on the code of conduct, ethical and professional standard, fraud and prevention plan strategy. These workshops seem to be yielding positive results when one takes into account the ethical behavior displayed by the SASSA employee when asked by the suspect dismissed in question above to assist them in getting password of other employees to commit fraudulent transaction. We need to have more of employees with such good conduct in assisting the government in fighting fraud and corruption. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable MEC. Honorable Hlophe, do you have any follow-up questions?
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. I've been responded very well by Honorable Manzini, considering that the fact that Honorable MEC Shongo is not available today. I think I will have, even if I had follow-up questions, it wouldn't be advisable to raise them to Honorable Manzin, but she has tried her level best. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It will always be advisable so that in a case where you are not satisfied, the relevant MEC will then respond in writing. But if you don't have any, it's also fine. Can I check with other members if they have any follow-up questions? There are no follow-up questions.
No, I'm here, Deputy Speaker.
Oh, Honorable Tabete.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I just want Honorable Manzini to pass this question to the relevant. The issue of SASSA the benefit of 350 for our beneficiaries. It seems it's a problem wherever we are going. There's a lot of queue in post office and around patient pay point. So we want to know our people are getting those relief of 350. And the second matter is the people who affected, who are arrested by hoax, are the people of Mpumalanga? If so, are they suspended? It is big.
Thank you, Honorable MEC.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I think in terms of the 350, we are receiving, even where we are coming from, people that are saying they have received 350. I think also, if honorable members, there are those that they've seen or heard that they are not receiving, to provide those lists so that we'll be in a position to assist, because the reasons why some of them are not getting this 350 is because of different reasons. So hence, some of them were even lodging dispute and all that. But I think if there are those that they qualify in terms of the 350 and they've not received, it will be advisable to submit to the department so that they can be assisted in the different levels where they are. In terms of those that are arrested, as I've said, that already they are still in custody, of which these are the employees that are in the province. Hence, we are able to report to say that they've been arrested, and we are thanking those that the good employees that they are still there, who are able to not want to be part of the corruption, but want to be part of the solution. So we think that if this will be an example set to also other employees to say, if you want to do any form of corruption that are going to deprive our people of, especially because here we are talking about the social grant of the poor of the poorest. So this is a good progress for our people, and also sending a strong message to say that if you are found to have been part of corruption, the law will take its course. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, MEC. We'll now go to the next question, which goes to the MEC of Agriculture, Rural Development and Land Reform and Environmental Affairs.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker, Honorable Vusi Mkhatshwa, and honorable members of the executive, as well as members of the legislature and the entire support staff from all, the spheres of government. The question which is directed to me is coming from Honorable J.J. Skosana, who's an ANC MPL. He's asking me whether I am aware of the rights of the labor tenants that are infringed in different farms, especially in Ligwa and Governing Pegi, the harassment of labor tenants and evictions that are still in order of the day in the above-mentioned municipalities. He's asking me whether I'm aware of that, and my response is that I'm quite aware of this unfortunate situation in our province, not only in Ligwa and Governing Pegi. If yes, can the Honorable MEC elaborate on the action taken? The department had in the past employed different approaches to intervene into this matter. In August 2015, the then Premier Honorable Mabuza commissioned a study to investigate the matter and make some certain recommendations. The report is there in the office of the Premier on the outcomes of the study. In May 2017, my department held an indaba on the labor tenants and farm dwellers. In this meeting, there were many stakeholders in attendance, and the office of the Premier came and presented the findings of the study. The then Deputy Minister of Department of Rural Development and Land Reform, Honorable Kendrick by then, also graced the indaba, giving guidance on what the land reform policy says regarding the treatment of labor tenants and farm dwellers. The department and Department of Community Safety, Security and Liaison had several engagements regarding this particular matter. We are currently working very closely with organized agriculture, farm unions, and commodity associations. We had several meetings with African Farmers Associations, shortly known as AFASA, Mpumalanga Agriculture Affiliation of Agri South Africa, Mpumalanga Agriculture Affiliation of Agri South Africa, National of Farmers Union, NAFTU, the Transvaal Agricultural Union, TAU. In this engagement, one of the emphasized topics is on treatment of farm workers and dwellers. How is the issue of bringing electricity to labor tenants and farm dwellers resolved, as much as most farmers still deny them this right? This matter is very critical, and once we get solution on the treatment of farm dwellers, the issue of basic services will be addressed too. This is a multi-stakeholder and intergovernmental matter. What is making this matter challenging to settle is the fact that most of these farms are privately owned, where in most cases my officials are not even allowed to enter in those properties. Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. You look very nice there.
Thank you, MEC. Can I check with Honorable Skosana if you've got follow-up questions?
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker, for a response that I got from the MEC. It's quite an extensive report that is addressing my questions. But lastly, I just want the MEC to share with us a plan that the department have to communicate constantly with the farm dwellers and the tenants. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable MEC.
Mr. Speaker, the question raised by Honorable J.J. Skosana, my Spali from Kangala, have been addressed in my responses. I've said I'm talking through the Farmers Union Association, Act South Africa, community registration, if it be, and all other stakeholders in making sure that my farmers and farm dwellers as well as tenants are briefed about their rights that are due to them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, MEC. Any other follow-up, Honorable Skosana?
I'm covered, Deputy Speaker. Thank you very much, MEC.
Thank you. From other honorable members, is there any member with a follow-up question? I will take it that there are no other follow-up questions.
Mashilo, Deputy Speaker.
Oh, Honorable Mashilo.
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Speaker and the MEC. Well, MEC, we are almost 25 in our democracy, and majority of these legislations that protect the rights of the workers have been there for some time. Probably wouldn't that help us that we move towards getting the alternative like a solar for the farm dwellers, so at least the farm dwellers can benefit as well. We have already said the land are private and there is no access of department in those particular land. Wouldn't that be help? That we got the boreholes there, that you use your hand bore drilled, and the solar for our people to have as well the benefits of a better life for all. Thank you, MEC.
Thank you, Honorable Member Mashilo. MEC?
To us as the department, to our farmers, farm dwellers and tenants, our interest is to see our people lives being better. Anything, any material, any means that will make my life of our people to be better is welcomed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, MEC. We will now move to the next question. The next question is asked to the MEC of Education. Honorable MEC.
Oh, thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Yes, MEC.
The question is from Honorable N. Klope to ask the MEC for Education.
Oh, sorry, MEC. I think you will pardon me, honorable members. I think I might have skipped one question. If you permit, since the honorable MEC is on the platform, can he continue? Then we'll go back to question 48 from Honorable Krobler. But you can continue, MEC.
Agreed.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Since the national state of disaster has been announced by the President, occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic, the education sector has suffered major losses in the province. The first question is, with the reopening of schools, how far are our schools, educators, and school infrastructure ready to cope with the time lost? Response: the year 2020 should have had 42 teaching weeks, but due to COVID-19, this was reduced to 37 weeks, meaning 5 weeks lost. Grade 7 and 12 recovered most of the teaching time as they reopened earlier than all the other grades and are at most 100% curriculum coverage. Other grades suffered more loss of teaching time due to the newly introduced models of delivery, which amongst others include learner attendance in alternate days, weekly rotations, and platooning. Extra classes in the mornings, afternoons, and weekends are conducted in areas where the school feels they are behind. Online and virtual lessons were conducted and links were shared with all schools through various media platforms to maximize participation. Parents who had learners with comorbidities were provided with hard copies of the work to be covered by their learners at their homes. Learners were provided with activities to be done and submitted through various media platforms to teachers for feedback. Radio lessons were conducted during the lockdown period. Learners had an opportunity to interact with tutors telephonically through dial-a-tutor, which enabled them to ask problematic or challenging topics. Grade 12 learners are currently attending spring camps and extra classes in a differentiated model to cater for learners who are best performing, progressed, and underperforming schools. This sector has developed a framework to mitigate for the lost teaching and learning time, which amongst others include the following: a revised school calendar, curriculum reorganization and trimming, as well as the revision of assessment requirements. One thousand 1,172 projects have been implemented to the value of 1,374, 1.374987 million, and have been completed since 2014 to date towards the provision of basic services in schools, in line with the norms and standards as promulgated. In the midst of COVID-19, the department ensured that all schools are provided with water, where 473 schools with water challenges were supported through Rand Water, which was a Department of Basic Education initiative. Schools through district coordination are also in close communication with the local municipalities towards continued access to water through municipal support. Where there are sanitation challenges, the department has approved that 33 schools lease portable toilets and 30 are currently receiving mobile toilets. through the departmental term contractors. A detailed report is attached here too as Annexure A. Roman figure 2, second question. With the requirements still for schools to observe social distances, what are the measures in place to provide additional classrooms? The department needed 14,078 additional classrooms when using a ratio of 1:25 classroom learner ratio on a 65-meter square classroom to observe 1.5 meter spacing. Currently, 353 schools have been identified with 2,269 excess classrooms unused due to decrease in enrollment. The total cost of 14,078 mobile classrooms was estimated at 3.8 billion, which was beyond the annual budget allocation, which still needed to accommodate basic services to comply with COVID-19 hygiene and safety requirements. The department only procured 152 mobiles for 37 most overcrowded schools. Schools adopted a variety of systems of attendance to manage the social distancing, which includes platooning and rotational attendance, like 1 or 2 weeks in months, etc. Roman figure 3. Third question, given the budget shifts from all departments in the province, how will the department ensure quality of learning is not compromised as a result of budget cuts? The department was adversely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic and budget cuts. As a result, many support programs for schools and teachers that were planned for the 2020 school year could not be implemented. Learners lost 5 weeks of teaching and learning time. Many good and experienced teachers could not report for work until alert level 1 of the lockdown due to comorbidities. It should be noted that the budget cut resulted in the department not having funds to appoint substitute teachers to replace those affected by comorbidities. Stability was restored in grade 7 and 12, and the school calendar amended to give additional teaching and learning days. To make up for lost days without reducing content coverage, a number of support programs were implemented at grade 12 to ensure curriculum coverage and psychosocial support. The support includes, but not limited to, extra classes, camps, radio and TV lessons, zero-rated websites with lots of well-prepared lessons, support material and exam preparation guides. For all the other grades, excluding grade 7 and 12, the content per subject was reduced to what would be manageable within the remaining school days. The reduced content also became unmanageable due to the required social distancing in class, which resulted in almost a half of each class attending school on a given day. To make up content gaps that are already created in the other grades by reducing content to be covered this year, the omitted content will be spread over the next three grades from 2021 to 2023, such that by 2024, all learners in the system will have caught up with all lost content. The current grades 10 and 11 will be treated differently since we do not have since we do not have 3 years to make up for the omitted content. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, MEC. Honorable Hlophe, do you have a follow-up question?
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. No, thanks. I don't have any. I'm covered.
Thank you, Honorable Member Hlophe. Let me check if there's any other member who has a follow-up question for the MEC.
Mashilo.
Yes, Honorable Member Mashilo.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Well, we welcome the MEC's response. But I want to check if MEC is aware that Rand water has since stopped. And those schools are again now without water. And the COVID is said to be a second wave of COVID. What is next on MEC? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable MEC.
Thank you, Honorable Mashilo. Yes, we are aware that Rand water had stopped, and already we made some ways of how to replace Rand water, like the Department of Human Settlements has come up with some projects of digging some boreholes in different schools where there's a challenge of water, but we are also engaging different municipalities throughout the province so as they can be able to assist us with water where there is a problem. I would appreciate, Honorable Member, if you can give us information in terms of those schools which as of now don't have water, so as we can have to intervene as speedily as possible. But as far as we are concerned now, is that we do have interventions since Rand water is left. Thank you.
Thank you, MEC. Any other follow-up question, honorable members? That will mean there are none. Can we then now move to the next question, which is asked to the MEC for Finance, Economic Development and Tourism by Honorable Grobler.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Question number 48. Honorable Grobler of the DA commented as follows. Honorable MEC, in the policy and budget speech for your department, you have mentioned that the province is going to lose 100,000 jobs and the poverty rate is said to increase to 50%. Given the above, will the MEC answer the following questions? Roman figure 1, the COVID-19 lockdown has devastated the economy for our province. How is the MEC department going to ensure that those who lost jobs, livelihood due to COVID-19 are reintroduced into the workforce? Response: in order to reintroduce those who lost their jobs into the workforce, our department has identified 8 key priority areas which will drive the provincial economy recovery plan. These priorities areas are part of our economic recovery plan, which has since been approved by Executive Council and is in line with our country's reconstruction and economic recovery plan. To this end, we will provide relief fund to SMMEs affected by COVID-19. Working with the private sector, we will develop and will implement provincial tourism recovery plan, of which it will deal with reactivating provincial tourism in the province. As you will know that tourism is one sector which is employing a lot of our people in the province and is a destiny to tourists. So if we concentrate in that particular area, it will mean we are going to employ or reintroduce many of those who lost their employment. We will also deliver the Nkomazi and finalize Nkomazi SEZ and finalize construction of Mpumalanga International Fresh Produce Market to grow the agricultural sector for export purposes. This will mean that one of the important sector which is highly important for our economy, as you will understand that even during this lockdown, during this pandemic, everybody wants to eat. Majority of our people are going to be encouraged to concentrate more into agriculture because this is a sector which will never go down. As you will understand that majority of our people, each and every person will want to eat, even if there's a lockdown. So if we are going to concentrate in that particular area, definitely we'll introduce a lot of people who might have lost their employment. We will strengthen the high-felt steel to promote the establishment of mining and metals industrial technology park with particular focus on the localization program of the steel industry. We will also focus on repositioning a industrial park to grow the economy of the province and to create jobs for the poverty pockets areas. Deputy Speaker, we will establish the other industrial technology parks such as petrochemical and forestry industrial parks in order to increase the industrial base of the province and to increase job opportunities. We will focus on the future production technology to skill young people in the cutting edge technologies of the fourth industrial revolution, such as robotics. We will focus on the green economy, working very close with agriculture, since you will understand that our responsibility is to level the ground, but in terms of this green economy, we are going to work hand in glove with the Department of Agriculture. So these are the priorities which will assist us to reintroduce the jobs which are lost. Roman figure 2, how much money has or will be set aside to mitigate the economic cost of nationwide lockdown? Deputy Speaker, our response is, as the department, we would like to have the following additional amounts over the MTF period, amongst others, in order to move with speed in implementing projects. We would love, and we are going to lobby very strong, that if we can get 19 million to provide relief for SMMEs, 310 million to fund the tourism recovery plan. This amount includes funding for infrastructure upgrades and marketing initiatives. 350 to complete the construction of phase 2 of Fresh Produce Market. 35 million to implement the Nkoma's SEZ interim phase, 90 million for the rejuvenation of Ekandastria Industrial Park, 60 million for petrochemical and forestry industrial technology parks. Roman figure 3, what will your department be doing with the above mentioned money? Our response, as already stated, the department intends to utilize this funding to implement the 8 key priority areas I have just mentioned in order to provide immediate relief to the hard-hit economic sectors and to stimulate the priority sectors. Roman figure 4. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, what is your department's plan to reinvigorate the tourism, accommodation, hospitality, and other industries which have been devastated by the lockdown? Our response is, our department, in partnership with all tourism stakeholders, has developed the Tourism Recovery Plan, which was subsequently approved by Executive Council in August 2020. And I want to assure this sitting that we are going to try our level best to work with private stakeholders and make sure that when the cut of the budget, which is going to be presented in late this month, this particular area gets an attention from provincial treasurer. Central.
You've got 1 minute left, MEC.
Central to the plan is the protection and rejuvenation of the tourism protection offering, reignition of marketing and promotion, as well as strengthening the enabling quality. To date, a total of 238 tourism businesses from Mpumalanga benefited from the National Tourism Relief Funds. Out of 238, 121 are Black-owned tourism establishments. It is through this facilitation that a total of 11,900,000 was located to 238 provincial tourism SMMEs. Provision has been made provisional from second adjustment appropriation for 2020-21 to fund implementation of tourism recovery plan. Overall, government will support all these sectors and industrial affected by lockdown. These are some of the initiatives which we are going to deal with in dealing with the issues which are raised by honorable member. Lastly, question, it's Roman figure 5. In your opinion, does this province have sufficient money to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 related job losses? Our response is, we have to implement the economic recovery plan with the funding that is currently available, since indications are that our budget will decrease over the MTF, but I must indicate that the funding is not enough. Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I'm not finished, but I think it suffice to end up here.
Thank you, MEC. Can I request Honorable Member Krobler to ask if he has any follow-up questions?
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Deputy I would just like to ask the MEC. Look, MEC, we've obviously got a huge responsibility to stimulate the economy of the province, and we do that through the opening of businesses. This is a bit off the topic of the question I just asked you, but I would like to know whether you think that your department has got a role in making it easier for businesses to open up in order to stimulate the economy, for them to create jobs, and with specific reference to cutting red tape in municipalities, whether it's making it cheaper for businesses to open up when it comes to rates and taxes, whether it's providing incentives for businesses when they appoint local people or the youth, or any of those initiatives. Do you think that your department can play a role assisting local municipalities or mandating local municipalities to make it easy for small businesses to open up by giving them better economic opportunities to open up? Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, and thank Honorable Grobler for the question. I want to indicate that I'm positive that the department is going to level the ground, working hand in gloves with municipality, with all municipalities, to make sure that private sector comes to play a role in order that they come and assist. But our department is working with all regions or districts to make sure that invites all areas of private sector to play a role in rejuvenating private sector to come and play a role in the economic development of our country. So, and in particular of our province. So, the way we see private sector represented by all districts of municipality, we think that will be possible because it's not the department alone. The district municipalities, private sector, all areas are represented, and I'm definitely sure that the private sector will play their investment fairly and assist government to employ our people on the ground.
Thank you, MC. Honorable Grobler, do you have another follow-up question?
I'm covered. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Grobler. Any other member with a follow-up question?
Check. Can I come in, Mashilo?
Come in, Honorable Member Mashilo.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker and the MEC. Well, MEC, does the department comprehend the challenge that is faced by the province? And if it is so, which in your presentation have already made a statement that there is no sufficient money, how would we get the money to unleash all these issues we have just started now in the program? Or there will be just a program that cannot be unleashed? Looking that the SEZ require a lot of money and it should be driven from the private sector. Your wheat bank, as you correctly said, and all the project. And when you look, the role Mega is playing is quite a minimal role. How would we make this progress change in the face of the province, including the unemployment that we have just said is escalating almost daily, and the role that the district LED or municipal LED must play in this regard? Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable MEC.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. It's true that we have insufficient funding, but that does not mean we are going to sit down, because it's not ourselves alone. All in the whole country, we are being hit hard by this pandemic, and this pandemic finds us in a state of paralysis in terms of economy of our country. But definitely that does not mean as government we are going to fold our hands, not fighting to get some investment and make sure that our country and the province get assisted and be rejuvenated in this area of economy. We are going to work very closely with the districts, of which up to so far, we are very satisfied. The response we are getting from all districts, your Tanzania, your Nkangala and Hertzband, and the role which is being played by private sector in those particular areas. Definitely, we are going to depend on the work which is going to be done by the private sector. But if we are working together with districts, definitely the investment which we have mentioned here, definitely we are going to get it. And we are positive that we are going to get it. Honorable Chair and Honorable Machine. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable MC. We've exhausted our time on this question. Can we quickly go to the next question, which is asked to MEC for Public Works, Roads and Transport?
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, members of the Executive Council, members of the Provincial Legislature, and the support staff from across the provincial administration. Honorable Lakshmi Naren from the ANC to ask the MEC for Public Works, Roads and Transport. Roads make a crucial contribution to economic development and social benefits. They are inextricably linked in providing access to employment, social health and education services. The department during your predecessor initiated a program called Situtula Ama Potholes. Question 1, in terms of the above, can the MEC explain why roads on municipalities such as Tabachweu and Emalahleni are in such a treacherous state regarding potholes? The response is the Department of Public Works, Roads and Transport is responsible for the management of 13,837 kilometers of surface roads, of the provincial road, of which 5,474 is surface roads and 8,363 is gravel roads. This excludes roads that belong to national government, e.g. SANRAL, and local municipalities. Notwithstanding this, the department is assisting local municipalities with various road maintenance works through its municipal support program. However, this assistance is dependent on the availability of budget or provincial road maintenance grant, of which, given the situation that we find ourselves in as a result of the pandemic of COVID-19, it is zero budget. Having said that, it should be noted that pothole repair is only one of several activities that contribute to better roads condition. Preventative maintenance should be done at scheduled intervals during the life cycle of roads before they develop potholes. Preventative maintenance activities include reseal, fog spray, crack sealing, and clearing of drainage structures. The return on investment in preventative maintenance is much higher than pothole repairs. Question 2. How is the department assisting these municipalities to deal with potholes? Because despite the sphere of government, the common denominator is that it is one government. In essence, we agree that we are a unitary state. And in my first response, I indicated that in addition to the municipal support program, which we don't have this financial year, due to the reasons that I've outlined, we are also conducting a study for weighbridge implementation in Tabachuelo. Emalahleni was covered in the last cycle when we had the budget for municipal support program. The Department of Public Works, Roads and Transport is currently working with the Tabachuelo local municipality to investigate possible solutions to prevent the road network in this municipality. The executive mayor of Tabachuelo local municipality and I issued this directive in an effort to address the state of roads infrastructure. The studies focus on the following: investigation of root causes of road deteriorations, possible solutions to arrest the deterioration of roads, identification of possible sites for the construction of way bridges, handing over of identified sections to SANRAL, and engagement with stakeholders. Roman figure 3, has the department done a verification on whether these municipalities have enough yellow fleet? And if yes, why is this problem not resolved? And if no, what will the department do to assist? The Department of Public Works, Roads and Transport conducted condition assessment on yellow fleet in all local municipalities in Mpumalanga Province. The conditional assessment was done through government motor transport, and recommendations were made for all yellow fleet. Recommendations include training of operators and mechanical artisans, introduction of efficiencies in usage or operating yellow fleet, disposal of old yellow fleet, and procurement of new yellow fleet, amongst others. Question Roman figure 4. By when is this problem going to be resolved? Assistance from the Department of Public Works, Roads and Transport is an ongoing exercise. A study such as that is done in Tabachuelo local municipality will yield good result in identifying root causes of the deterioration of the road network, strategies to address the road's condition, and cost estimates for such remedial actions. Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable MEC. And I invite Honorable Member Lansimerian to ask her follow-up questions, if any.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. I think my question is to the Honorable MEC on the lines of how prepared is the department in respect of the coal haulage grant that was taken away? What other course of recourse of action do we have?
Thank you, Honorable MEC.
Unfortunately, Honorable Speaker, if we didn't have a huge impact in terms of the budget cuts, because besides the issue of the coal haulage, there has been a budget cut in the department, which when combined is close to over 1 billion. And the only option that we were going to have was in terms of making sure that there is a great performance on the projects that you are having. But unfortunately, because of the budget cuts, Honorable Deputy Speaker, some of the projects are going to be delayed. Some of the appointments are going to be delayed, and the implementation of projects when delayed and the appointments being delayed, it affects performance. And as a result, we are at our weakest point. Thank you very much.
Any other follow-up, Honorable Nerian?
Deputy Speaker, can I come in?
Yes, just a second. I'm checking Honorable Member Lachminerian if she has any other follow-up.
No other follow-up questions, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Chief Whip.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. We want to appreciate the construction of the road that connects Umkodo and Kongolo in the Hertsibande region. It's an 18-kilometer road, but presently the constructors are busy constructing 9 kilometers. I'm raising this question because the Honorable MEC has just indicated not enough money to finish some of the projects. Does this include that road that joins Mkondo to Pitritif? Because if that is the case, then it can exercise to construct 9 kilometers, put tire and leave the other 9 kilometers. It would be proper if the entire kilometers could in fact be finalized. Will MEC respond if there will be enough money to finish the entire 18 kilometers? Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Whip. Honorable MEC.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, I struggled a bit in getting the question from the Chief Whip, but nonetheless, I'll attempt to respond to the question. If I didn't get it, we will then process it in the manner that it must be processed. Well, the boarding school at Mkondo and the road at Lebval are not mostly affected. Those that are affected is a road in Dludluma, which because of the budget cuts, all the process were finalized and we are delaying the implementation of that road. A road at Ekulindele in Moy Plus. These roads that I'm referring to, all the processes have been concluded, but unfortunately we were supposed to have started implementation, but we cannot do that. Another road that is going to be affected, and Honorable Skosana and Honorable Mashilo will cut my head, is the road in Kachibani, which we are busy finalizing the designs, and our plan was that it was going to be advertised in the last quarter of this financial year. But given the circumstances that we are facing, and there are other roads, Honorable Speaker, that in terms of the budget pressure, we are not moving in the pace that we are supposed to move. And we are a little bit delaying so that we don't overheat on them because of all the troubles that I've already explained. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable MEC. We have run out of time for this question. Can we go to the next question? Which is asked to the MEC of Health.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. The questions from Honorable R.J. Sitole. With regard to tenders awarded for the personal protective equipment for healthcare professionals and support staff at Mpumalanga healthcare facilities, can the MEC please indicate the following? How many tenders did the department advertise and awarded for the purchasing and delivering of PPE? Who were the tenders awarded to and what was the value of each of the tenders? The response is that no tenders were advertised and awarded by the department for the purchasing and delivery of PPEs. The department instead procured all PPEs using the following National Treasury Emergency Procurement Instruction Notes, which is National Treasury Instruction number 8 of 2019-20 issued on the 19th of March 2020, and the National Treasury Instruction number 3, 2020 of 21 issued on the 15th of April 2020, the National Treasury Instruction number 5 of 2020-21 issued on the 28th of April 2020, the National Treasury Instruction Note number 11 issued on 2020-21 issued on the 25th of August 2020. How much has the department spent to date on the purchasing and delivery of PPE in the province, and how much more is the department envisaging to spend in this financial year? The response that the department has spent 337,503,437 on PPE as of the 29th of October 2020, and the budget allocated for PPE for this financial year is 375,254,000. 375,254,000. In the Department of Health, the third question, is the department able to provide sufficient PPE to all healthcare professionals and support staff in all healthcare facilities in Mpumalanga? The response is yes, the department is able to provide sufficient PPE to all healthcare professionals and support staff in all healthcare facilities. The available stock is monitored on a daily basis from the pharmaceutical depot and all hospitals and reported to National Department of Health. The fourth question, can the MEC explain what PPE should be provided daily to healthcare professionals and support staff in the provincial healthcare facilities? The response is that the PPE that is provided daily to healthcare professionals is according to the level of healthcare activities as per the National Institute of Communicable Disease NICD guideline. The provincial healthcare facilities staff has been issued with cloth masks and sanitizers are placed in all strategic places to improve ease of access. Water and soap is always available in the bathroom. The healthcare professionals in health facilities use PPE as follows: point of entry in the triage, which is the surgical mask, collecting specimen having goggles of face shield or visor, respiratory mask N95 or KN95, disposable gown, gloves, caring for a suspected confirmed case of COVID-19 is goggles of face shield or visor, respiratory mask which is N95 or KN95, disposable gown and gloves. Caring for a confirmed case of COVID-19 with the aerosol generating procedures is Google of face shield or visor, a respirator mask N95 or KN95, disposable gown, gloves, and coveralls. The fifth question, does the department sanitize or fumigate healthcare facilities that report positive cases? And the response is the department decontaminates all identified areas, which include healthcare facilities, offices, and etc. that may have been contaminated with COVID-19 when a positive case of COVID-19 is reported. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable MEC. Honorable Stolle, do you have any follow-up questions?
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. I don't have any follow-up questions. I'm covered. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Let me check with other honorable members if there are any follow-up questions. I take it there are no follow-up questions. Thank you, Honorable MEC. Can we go to the next question? The next question is asked to the MEC of Agriculture, Rural Development, Land and Environmental Affairs.
Deputy Speaker.
Yes,
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker, as well as my colleagues and the support staff once more. The question is coming from my chairperson of the Portfolio Committee. And I want to appreciate, Deputy Speaker, that I have a chairperson who acknowledge the good work and the programs that the department are embarking on, particularly the Fortune 40, Masbiele Sbayeni, Pesgom Kolomlimi, and the others. And he is asking me whether I am satisfied about these programs, whether they are correctly spread equally in all our districts in the province. And I'm saying yes, I'm very much satisfied. And we ensure that every time we balance the allocation, we balance it to all the districts. The chairperson says, can the Honorable MEC elaborate on the success and challenges faced in implementing these good programs in Hertzband and in Kangala? And my response is, Gersband and Kangala fall under the Highveld region of our province. And we must remind honorable members about the geography of the province. And according to the Agricultural Policy Action Plan, these two districts are having competitive and comparative advantages on grains, that is maize and soya beans in Gersband, while maize and sorghum are mainly in Kangala. Livestock, both large and small, poultry in Kangala, apple in Gersband. Well, the program PESGOM Kolomli, as I've indicated earlier, these two districts have competitive advantage on grain production and to some extent fruits. These two districts receive a significant share of PESGOM Kono allocations. In the previous year, the department managed to plant 3,171 hectares and 2,837 hectares of grain for Gersband and Kangala, respectively. That constitutes 58% of the total of 10,344 hectares planted in the province. On the food gardens established and maintained in Gersband and Kangala, the department delivered 152 and 128 respectively. Total number of households supported with agricultural production initiatives is 1,241 in Gersband and 796 in Kangala. In Gersband, we have also discovered that there are areas which are very suitable for apple production. The pink lady, not ladies that we know, Honorable Deputy Speaker, this is the term of the fruits or the apples, which are unique apples that has been proven thrive in Gersband district, giving the region a competitive advantage. We are 10 hectares under the apple production, and we are planning to expand it to 200 hectares in collaboration with Deciduous Fruit Development Chamber, commonly known as CFDC of South Africa. The province, however, continued to experience persistent drought, which started in 2015 due to climate change, Deputy Speaker. This has been a decline in production in grain and industrial crops. The other challenge is that the attack by exotic fruit flies which affected maize and vegetables. To mitigate, this department encourages farmers to plant drought and pest-resistant seeds, or known as Tela. Well, Limasbuye Lesbayeni is one program that we are proud of as a province, and our farmers are very proud of this particular program. Gersband is the hub of livestock production due to its vegetation and climate conditions. In the previous year, Nkangala received 6 sets of livestock, while Gersband got 2 sets. Although Nkangala received excessive high temperature during summer, farmers are still practicing livestock production successfully. In Gersband, they were also focusing on dairy cow production, taking an advantage of the region's cold weather and good grasslands. The livestock farmers are mainly affected by shortage of grazing fields due to drought and had to depend on fodder to feed their animals. And I have, if necessary, I can forward to the Honorable Speaker and the Legislature with some photos as proof of this support to our farmers in the province. On Fortune 40, the MEC, myself, I'm satisfied with the implementation of Fortune 40 program in this district because the department to date has managed to implement 6 Fortune 40 projects in Gersbande district and 7 projects in Kangala district, which are all in concert production. This project, recent past, have produced knowledge and skillful young farmers which are assisting the province to address the challenge of aging farmers facing the province. So I can mention a number of responses insofar as these programs are concerned. And one last question which the Honorable Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee have asked us, it has to do with how far we are dealing with the farmers' relief application and how successful is the distribution of this application. And we want to say as a department, in April 2020, the Minister of Agriculture announced the opening of the Smallholder Farmers COVID-19 Relief Fund. And the applications were opened on the 8th of April. The fund was the remaining balance of the former Department of Rural Development and Land Reform. As such, the Provincial Shared Services Center Chief Director managed the fund accountable. And we want to say, as the province, we are proud of the role that we have played in conjunction with the Department of Umama Uthoko Didiza. We are working together. And I must also mention that Honorable Deputy Speaker, the allegations that were leveled against the Department of Rural Development, Umama Uthoko Didiza, in the province, I've advised the department, as the Department of Agriculture from Mpumalanga, to go and open cases against labantu ababalizele lamaplazi. Omunye wakhona eMahasoni bekatshontsha ikhopha ayiprocessela khona lapha eplazini laRhulumente. So I want to say, as this department, there are a lot of things, and to appreciate Deputy Speaker, the chairperson of the committee, by asking this relevant question that are educational to our people to understand what programs do we have as a department that are assisting our people, including the chair of chairs, Ubaba JJ Skosana, in the previous question. Very good question. Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable MEC. Can I check with the Honorable Member TM Makaringe if there are any follow-up questions?
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. I think I appreciated how the NEC for the department has responded in terms of all the questions that we raised. But let me ask Honorable MEC, there are still outstanding issues pertaining Fortune 40 project in Bushbuckridge, which is situated at Allandale Citrus Farm in Ward 36. The farm was the hope of our people for both employment and poverty alleviation, but now it is a white elephant. What is really going on in this beautiful farm? And the Honorable MEC elaborate on that if there are any plans to revive this farm for the youth and work and support their families. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The Honorable MEC.
Ngibonge kakhulu, Deputy Speaker. Ngisho kusihlalo wami ukuthi le question le seyi-question lentsha. Kodwa-ke ngokuhlonipha u-chairperson wami we-Portfolio Committee, angisho ukuthi as a department sine-plan nge-Bushbuckridge. Particularly that as a department say understand ukuthi Bushbuckridge is one of the districts as a contributor immensely in production agriculturally in the province. So we before COVID-19, Deputy Speaker, our plan was that with my administration, that of going to Bushbuck Ridge. And also bring in Inkangala, Nenkomazi as well, because we feel ukuthi some of our farmers kufaneleke siyo educatana nabo, particularly enkangala kunomunye nje farmer elicabanga ukuthi isupport ne-infrastructure nezinto ze-government angakhona kuzi-owna yena yedwa zibe ngezakhe. So eBushbuck Ridge we know ukuthi we still owe iBushbuck Ridge as a department ukuthi ke siyivakashele siyo-addressa some of the challenges that uChairperson azireyizako, considering nokuthi uChairperson ke Deputy Speaker ubuya khona ngale bush. Siya-acknowledge lokho Chairperson wethu we-Portfolio Committee sakuvakashele ekhaya baba. Siyabonga.
Thank you, MEC. Any other question, Honorable Makaru?
Hi, Deputy Speaker, ngibonge MEC Nyamthemba. Thank you.
All right. Any other follow-up question, honorable members?
Deputy Speaker, can I come in?
Yes, Chief Whip.
Honorable Speaker, let us welcome the responses from the Honorable MEC. At La Pala Mkondo, one-stop center, the construction of the project has grinded to an abrupt halt. We were there last week on Thursday. After we have visited that place, I think it was last year in May.
Chief Whip.
There last week on Thursday and found that the construction of that project has grounded to an abrupt halt. Can the Honorable MEC just brief us what is the plan of the department to resuscitate that project? Because it's a very vital project for the stimulation of the economy of Hertzibande and Umkondo in particular. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Whip. I wanted to advise you to switch your video off because, yes, indeed, you've got a nice shave there, but I thought it is affecting your network. But it's fine. I hope the MEC has got the question. MEC?
Deputy Speaker, ngizwe kahle umbuzo wa Chief Whip of the Majority Party. A very good question. But also to take it into consideration, it's a brand new question as well. But again, because I'm quite aware and understand my department as I understand myself, is that layer project akhuluma ngayo kuyiqiniso ukuthi beyimile with some challenges abekhona lapha. But my officials, under the leadership of the HOD, the current acting HOD, last week bekakhona lapha eMkhondo. Bayilungisile, seyiqalile ba. Seyiqalile iyasebenza, Deputy Speaker.
Okay.
Iyophela 2022.
No, we are fine. Thank you very much. We have run out of time for this question. Let's go to the next question, which is asked to the MEC of Social Development. And as I indicated earlier, that Honorable MEC Manzini will stand in for MEC Shongwe. MEC Manzini.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. The question is from Honorable BM Lubisi to ask a question to MEC for Social Development. Reports of gender-based violence have been on the rise in the past months, while the world is trying to win the fight against the deadly COVID-19. Shortage of staff in units that deals with gender-based violence impact negatively when delivering services. The first question is, which areas within the province were mostly affected by gender-based violence? The response is that cases of gender-based violence have been reported throughout the province, but more cases have been received from Komazi, Bushbuck Ridge, Mbombela, Msukalikwa, Govan Peki, Emalahleni, and Tembisile Hani municipalities. The nature of the cases included domestic violence, sexual assault, physical and emotional abuse, harassment, rape, and financial abuse. The second question, how many cases has been reported and how many were those cases resolved? A total of 635 cases have been reported, and this number included cases that have been reported to the local Department of Social Development offices, victims that have received sheltering services and psychosocial support services from the victim support centers and shelters, as well as cases that have been referred by the Gender-Based Command Center. The third question, what were some of the challenges the department was confronted with and how were they dealt with? The response is that during the lockdown, the number of cases that were reported at the shelters and local offices was low due to uncertainty of whether these cases were operational. However, the department informed communities that the services were available and their facilities were operational. Officials were also concerned about the risk of contracting the COVID-19 virus. A risk management plan was crafted and approved by senior management for the safety of the officials. PPE were distributed to officials on duty. The Gender-Based Command Center toll-free number was also marketed through social media organization, and department went on local radio station to encourage women to speak and seek help. At the lockdown progress, there was an increase in number and victims were accessing services. Social workers also availed themselves at the police station to render services to victims of violence. How is the department dealing with the challenge? The fourth question, how is the department dealing with the challenges of shortage of staff, especially counseling victims of gender-based violence? The response is that due to the scourge of gender-based violence, the department has employed additional 18 social workers and resumed duty in July 2020. These social workers have been stationed in the following municipality: Ehlanzeni is Mbombela, Stroke Umjindi, Nkomazi, Tabacho, Bushbuck, in Kangala, Emalahleni, Emakazeni, Victor Kanye, Steve Chwete, Tembisile, and Dr. J.S. Moroka. Harsibande is governed by Kichifal Bidustudum Sugalikwa, Likwa, and Dipalising and Mkondo. The department has social workers that are working within the local DSD offices. Once cases are received, they are allocated to social worker within the area to render psychosocial support services, such as counseling to the victims. In addition to this, the department is also funding NPOs that are rendering services to victims of crime and violence. These NPOs are situated within the communities and their services are extended to the far-flung areas, reaching many farm and rural communities. Within the NPO sectors, the department is funding 27 social workers who are rendering a basket of services to victims of gender-based violence, including counseling. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable MEC. I will ask Honorable Lubisi to ask if there are any follow-up questions. Honorable Lubisi.
Honorable Speaker.
Yes,
Honorable BC is not here, Honorable Speaker. Maybe we forgot to make the Honorable Deputy Speaker aware.
Oh, I thought we should have received the apology well in time, but I'm sure you will have to deal with it, Chief Whip. Let me go and check if there are other members that will want to ask follow-up questions. Are there any other members? None.
Deputy Chairperson, Deputy Speaker, sorry.
Yes, Honorable Mkabela.
Deputy Speaker, I think in terms of the rules, when the member is not available, the MEC is not supposed to go through the questions and like giving the responses. Thank you.
Yes, you are correct. That's why I was indicating that the Honorable Chief Whip of the majority party must deal with that matter, because if they could have indicated earlier the MEC was not going to answer the question. I was just taking advantage that she has already answered, and probably members will want to have the follow-up questions. But if there's none,
Okay, Speaker.
yeah.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thanks, Honourable Member. Honourable Members, this then brings us to the end of our question paper. I will now request the Secretary to read the second order of the day.
Order number 2, consideration of reports of the Portfolio Committee on Human Settlement, Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. 2.1, report on the 2020-2021 revised annual performance plan, vote for Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. 2.2, report on the 2020-2021 revised annual performance plan, vote 13, Department of Human Settlements.
I now call upon the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Human Settlements, Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Honorable MC Masilela, to table the report.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. On behalf of the Portfolio Committee, I would like to table the report on House.
Okay, I'm informed that there is no debate on these reports. Now the question before the House is whether we agree to adopt these reports as tabled by Honorable MC Masilela. Agreed to?
Yes. Agreed, Chair. Agreed.
As so agreed. The Secretary shall read the third order of the day.
Order number 3, consideration of a report of the Portfolio Committee on Agriculture, Rural Development, Land and Environmental Affairs on the 2020-2021 revised budget and annual performance plan, vote by Agriculture, Rural Development, Land and Environmental Affairs.
Thank you. Can honorable members mute their mics? Honorable Makaring, Honorable Chief Whip, the few that I can see. Now I call upon the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Agriculture, Rural Development, Land and Environmental Affairs, Honorable T.M. Makaring, to table the report.
Yeah, thank you again, Honorable Deputy Speaker. As the Chairperson of Portfolio Committee on Agriculture, Rural Development, Land and Environmental Affairs, I rise to table the report for consideration for adoption by the House.
Thank you. I am informed that there is no debate on this report. Now the question before the House is whether we agree to adopt these reports as tabled by Honorable T.M. Makaring. Agreed to?
Agreed.
So agreed. The Secretary shall read the fourth order of the day.
Order number 4, consideration of reports of the Portfolio Committee on Education, Culture, Sports and Recreation. 4.1, report on the 2020-2021 revised budget and annual performance plan, vote 7, Department of Education. 4.2, report on the 2020-2021 revised budget and annual performance plan, vote 11, Department of Agriculture, Sports and Recreation.
I now call upon the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Education, Culture, Sports and Recreation, Honorable N. Thope, to table these reports. Honorable Thope.
Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Yes, Chief Whip.
Honorable Shope was connected. I think it's a problem of because it's raining outside. We are all struggling in terms of the connection.
Yes.
But in view of the fact that she has been disconnected, I have to move the report on behalf of the Portfolio Committee for consideration by the House. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that is acceptable. Now the question before the House is whether we agree to adopt these reports as tabled by Honorable Ndlope.
Agree.
Agree.
Yeah, as so agreed, the Secretary shall read the fifth order of the day.
Order number 5, consideration of reports of the Portfolio Committee on Health and Social Development. 5.1, report on the 2020-2021 revised budget and annual performance plan, Vote 12, Department of Social Development. 5.2, report on the 2020-2021 revised budget and annual performance plan, Vote 10, Department of Health.
I now call upon the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Health, Social Development, Honorable J.L. Tabete, to table these reports. Is Honorable Tabete still here?
Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Honorable Tabete is connected here, Honorable Chief Whip. She just needs to unmute. Honorable Tabete, can you unmute?
Speaker, it would seem that she cannot hear you. Can I be allowed to move the report on her behalf?
Okay. Yes, Chief Whip, you can continue.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. And I do apologize for the difficulty that you are experiencing because of the challenges with regards to connectivity. But I rise on behalf of the Portfolio Committee to move that for consideration by this August House. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Whip. Indeed, it seems as though we are seriously disadvantaged by the weather conditions in terms of connectivity. I'm informed that there is no debate on these reports. Now the question before the House is whether we agree to adopt these reports as tabled by Honorable J.L. Tabete. Agreed to?
Yes,
Agreed.
Thank you, as so agreed. Honorable members, that concludes the business of the day. The House is adjourned until Tuesday, 17th November 2020 at 2:15 via Microsoft Teams platform. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Long live.
Long live, honorable members. Thank you, sis. Yeah. No, bye.
Yeah.
Goodbye.